I was in the locker room, and I got sick to my stomach thinking about it. And I said to myself, I said, Althea, all you're going to do when you go out there today, you're not going to pay any attention to the crowd. You're not going to notice anything. All you're going to do is watch that ball. That's all you're going to do. That's what I did. I was ignorant of applause, claps, boos. That was blocked out. All I was thinking about is hitting that white ball. It was the greatest honor that I could receive to have the Queen of England present me the Wimbledon trophy as the first black female to ever win Wimbledon.
What a long way she had come, from the streets of Harlem to shaking hands with the Queen, from being forced to sit in the back of the bus in North Carolina to dancing with the Dukes and being asked to sing at the Wimbledon ball.
Never let you say no. Don't say
That was a beautiful scene. People throwing confetti and Althea sitting on the back of a convertible just waving and everything. We went to Gracie Mansion and they gave her the key to the city.
I think that's one of the greatest honors any citizen in our country could receive. That shows that the whole public loves you, admire you, respect you. How delightedly happy my mother looked, and how proud my father looked.
Althea was selected for the Whiteman Cup team in 1957. Now it was on to the United States Championships, and the only thing standing in Althea's way was her old foul-weather friend, Louise Brough.
The women's finals, Louise Brough of California meets Harlem's Althea Gibson, and Althea wins it in straight sets. This is set and match point, and Miss Gibson's 8th attempt to capture her country's biggest tennis title is crowned with success. She becomes the first of her race to win the U.S. singles.
After winning the United States Championship in 1957, Althea remarked, "I thought it couldn't get much better than winning Wimbledon, but winning your own country's championship was something very special in my life."
I'm going to win Wimbledon, you know. And she was being beaten every finals by Angela Mortimer. Angela Mortimer was very, very steady. She hadn't got the big game that Althea had got, but she used to beat her. And everybody was laughing behind her back, more than usual, you know. And who was the player that she had to play in the finals of Wimbledon? Angela Mortimer. And everybody was saying, now the chips are down, you know. And it was a very long extended first set, I remember. And then she won, I think it was something like 7-5, 6-2 or something like that.
Althea became part of an elite group of the most notable figures of modern time when she appeared on the cover of Time magazine and Sports Illustrated.
I was defending champion in 1958. It was the final match against Darlene Hart, who was 3 or 4-time doubles champion. She won the first set, to my surprise, because what she was doing, I had not realized what she was doing. I was serving, and she was cutting my serve off, coming in, and catching it right on the rise, therefore beating me to the net, and I was considered a good net player. So she won the first set, doing just that. The second set, I scrambled, but I had to win the second set if I was going to defend successfully. And we came back out, and she started doing the same thing over again. beat me to the net. I was totally confused. I said, now here I am, the defending champion, about to lose. I said, no, I don't want this to happen. I started putting a shot on Darlene that surprised her. And that shot was lob. When she came into the net, every time she came in, I lobbed over her head. I threw a lob up. It was so perfect that it hit the chalk on the baseline. So that means she had to run from the net back to the baseline and retrieve that. Next time she came up to the net, I threw up another one. And it hit the chalk line again. The third time she came in, I hit another perfect lob and it hit the chalk line, and that was the end of Darlene Hart. I defended successfully.
After successfully defending her United States championship title, Althea stunned the world when she announced her retirement from tennis.
I know that I'll be contented with yesterday's memory, knowing you think of me once in a while. Once in a while.
In those days, tennis was not a paying sport. Althea had many great wins, momentous wins, but she was never paid for those, for playing that kind of tennis. She had to resort to other ways to make money.
In my day, it was for peanuts and for cups, and for silverware, and not the bread, shall I say, to quote.
In her book, I Always Wanted to Be Somebody, Althea wrote, "My pleasures and interests are simple. I don't want to be put on a pedestal. I think I already got the main thing I always wanted, to be somebody, to have an identity. I am Althea Gibson, the tennis champion. I hope it makes me happy."
I told her to become a singer because there was no money in the game, you see. And I said to her, look, I said, you've got a fabulous voice. I hear you every morning in the bath. So I said, why don't you follow that path? I said, because that may fund your tennis for you.
In May, Dot Records released her first record album, Althea Sings. The song So Much to Live For was written especially for her by Professor James Kennedy, her voice coach. To Althea, it was much more than a song. It was the description of her life and her attitude at the time.
Carry on. We have so much to live for, to work and to play.
Ed Sullivan invited Althea to appear on his show. The performance was a good one, and she was invited to appear on a second show. Althea landed a role in the film Horse Soldiers with John Wayne and William Holden. Her role was that of a maid to a Southern belle heroine in the Old South. Althea didn't like the use of the heavy Negro dialect. She found it offensive. Apparently, the point was well taken, as it was conceded. The Harlem Globetrotters made Althea an offer she could not refuse.
Well, I made some money, just a little bit, when I joined the Globetrotters tour, went on the circuit with them.
Althea was to go on a national tour and play an exhibition tennis match. She enlisted her friend, Carol Fagaros, to go on the tour and play against her. Financially, the deal was a great one. In April of 1960, the tour came to an end. After paying expenses, there wasn't as much money as she initially thought. Uppermost in her mind was getting her parents, brother and sisters out of Harlem. She put money down on a house in Long Island. Finally, she felt right with the world. After being offered another tour with the Globetrotters, Althea decided that what she had seen was so lucrative, she would put together her own tour. After 3 months, it became clear. Too much risk, no reward. The balance of the tour was canceled, and Althea was financially ruined. Althea's financial salvation came in the form of Ward Baking Company, makers of the popular Tip Top bread. They signed her to a 1-year contract to make appearances around the country. At the age of 33, Althea made the decision to pursue a serious career in golf.
I joined the LPGA Tour in 1967, and Althea Gibson was already on the tour. She had joined in 1963. She was the first black female out there. She was Althea Gibson, and she came with a great name and had done some incredible things, and was an American hero. Being a minority, being a black person or African American in the field of golf, which is was at one time almost a lily white sport, then certainly you're going to run up against many obstacles and many prejudices, and so no matter what your name is, if you happen to be black and everybody else happens to be white, then you're going to run into problems. She had to fight so many battles. She was also a very gentle person, and so I think that she has a great sense of humor, and she could, she would laugh about a lot of things. Although a lot of times, just, on the inside, you can laugh on the outside a lot of times, but you're hurting on the inside.
She had an excellent game, even enough to go onto the LPGA. She was out there in order to just qualify. Just to qualify for the LPGA, you had to be good. And she was that good.
Jerry Volpe, the owner and golf pro of the private Inglewood Club in New Jersey, invited Althea to practice there. Not only did he give her tips about the game of golf, he also made her an honorary member of the previously all-white club.
They never had a policy, any kind of discriminatory practices on the LPGA, and I know at the time we had a tournament director, Lenny Wirtz, was a very fair individual, and I know there were different times when Althea ended up having to change her shoes in her car because she wasn't allowed in the locker room. And also a lot of tournaments were called invitationals, and that was because they could invite everybody on the tour, but they didn't have to invite who they didn't want to invite. And they didn't have to invite Althea, but as what ended up happening is that our tournament director, Lenny Wirtz, took a stand, and so did the officers of our tour at the time. But he definitely took a stand and said either everybody plays or nobody plays. So the tour will not play in a town where they do not accept all of our players. And that was just how it was. It was cut and dry. Either they did or they didn't.
If a black person achieves in any discipline, be that person an architect, an engineer, an athlete, it assists the rest of us in whatever our pursuits are. It's sort of like people begin to say, well, by God, they can read and write and count.
And she came on the tour, she was one of the longest hitters on the tour. She was very strong. I'm sure a lot of that power came from her years of playing tennis.
Well, she could outdrive me. And I've been playing golf for many years, but she could outdrive me.
She would not play from the ladies' tee because she would take advantage of you if she had to play from the ladies' tee. She always played from the white tees with us because she could drive the ball about 300, maybe 3 1/4 if she got a tailwind.
In October of 1965, Althea decided to stop fighting the inevitable, and she married Will Darby.
Because of you, my romance had its start. Because of you, the sun will shine. The stars and moon will say you're mine. Forever, never to part. I only live for your love and your kiss. It's paradise to be near you.
For the very first time in her life, she felt she had become somebody in somebody else's mind and heart besides her own.
And I can smile because of you.
Althea was inducted into the International Tennis Hall of Fame in 1971.
First met Althea Gibson back in the early to mid 70s, I believe, when she was the athletic commissioner here in the state of New Jersey. Now, the athletic commissioner's job in the state of New Jersey at that time pretty much was to regulate the sport of professional boxing and what we call professional wrestling. Miss Gibson was the commissioner at that particular time.
The girl who was taught to box by her father for her own self-defense was now New Jersey's highest-ranked boxing official. Althea attempted a comeback in golf in 1980 at the age of 53, but failed to qualify.
I'm sure that she did that because she really felt within herself that she could do it, that she could make a comeback.
From 1963 to 1977, Althea played in 171 LPGA tournaments.
A quarter-finalist in 1956, and the winner in the next 2 years, the champion in 1957 and 1958, America's Althea Gibson.
Althea's a coach in New Jersey these days. She was a professional golfer for 7 years, and she's just been reinstated as an amateur golfer.
Ladies and gentlemen, Althea Gibson.
When Althea came to watch me play in the 1990 Wimbledon, when she walked into the locker room, I mean, I almost passed out. I didn't know that she was coming, and I knew that by the time I made it to the finals, I knew what had happened. It had been like 33 years since the previous black person had been in a finals of a Grand Slam tournament. Being in the same locker room that she had been in once before, and knowing that I was about to step onto the court that she had actually won and held the title, it was just so exciting for me.
She got through this through adversity in a time when it was an all-white world. The barrier has been broken.
She paved the way for the African Americans and a lot of the minorities to come in and play tennis and to be able to do well. So she was there from the beginning. She was a forerunner.
In 1995, life dealt Althea yet another devastating blow. The passing of the love of her life, Will Darby.
The shades are all drawn. My heart is heavy as I gaze upon a cottage for sale.
When you think about Althea and you look at her, then going from having pioneering in so many different areas. You see people in such as the Jackie Robinsons and the Joe Lewises and the Jesse Owens. Those were all men. But when you see Althea, and here's a woman and one of the first black women to have broken many, many barriers.
I'd like to thank Althea for all she did as far as breaking down barriers, not only for African Americans, but for all women. I know a lot of people think Arthur Ashe was the first person you know, to break down the color barrier, and it really was Althea Gibson.
Throughout her amazing career, Althea always found refuge from the pressures by teaching children.
I can't give you anything but love, baby. That's the only thing I've plenty of, baby. Dream a while, scheme a while, we're sure to find happiness, and I guess all those things you've always pined for. Gee,
Althea Gibson was my first tennis instructor. The main thing I remember, not so much the technical part of the lesson, was the fact that Althea was extremely kind, very gentle, and awfully patient.
Althea had a really big impact on my tennis career, and the reason why is because there was someone that I could relate to, being an African American in a sport that was basically white.
I did a report on Althea Gibson as one of my, like a biography report. I learned that she played in Wimbledon and that she won. The way she played tennis, it really inspired people and inspired me.
Althea is not only a role model for black girls and boys too, not just girls, but she's also a role model for others who are not black, because they can see what she accomplished under difficult circumstances.
People have asked me, do you know Althea Gibson? No, I don't know Althea Gibson. I've never met her. I probably never will. But I'll tell you what, I don't think that if you're born in Harlem and you receive the Wimbledon trophy from the Queen of England, and you receive the U.S. Championship trophy from Richard Nixon, and you get a ticker tape parade down Fifth Avenue in New York, I don't think you die in obscurity. It's not right.
It must have been cold there in my shadow to never have sunlight on your face. You were content to let me shine. That's your way. You always walked a step behind. So I was the one with all the glory, while you were the one with all the strength. A beautiful face without a name for so long. A beautiful smile to hide the pain. Did you ever know that you're my hero and everything I would like to be? I can fly higher than an eagle. You are the wind beneath my wings.
because of you, there's a song in my heart. Because of you, my romance had its start. Because of you, the sun will shine, the stars and moon will say you're mine, forever, never to part. I only live for your love and your kiss. It's paradise to be near you like this. Because of you, my life is now worthwhile, and I can smile.